Alright, once again, Together for Christmas by Astral Sketch. Everything they had ever wanted was finally within their grasp, as everyone before them was under the spell of their song, fueling their power and making them stronger. But then, suddenly from the sky appeared a giant rainbow alicorn created by the rainbooms, and began to go brighter, and with one mighty blast of light, everything was gone. That was when Adagio woke up from her nightmare.
That wasn't a nightmare. That happened.
That happened.
They got blasted by rainbows, motherfucker.
Well, let's see if we get some clarification. She'd been having the same one ever since the night of the Battle of the Bands. Adagio placed her hand on her chest, only to remember that her precious pendant was gone. If only it was a dream, she wished. Then they wouldn't be in the situation she and her fellow Sirens were in now. Adagio looked at the time on her clock. It was still early, and knowing that she won't be able to go back to sleep, she got out of bed. In the months after their defeat, their lives had changed dramatically. Well, given how they lost the only source of power they had, it let them sap off negative energy, and left to wonder exactly how they could survive.
How about being normal humans for once?
Yeah. Just for the record, yes, this guy's grammar is a little iffy still from the last time we read a story from him, so...
We'll try our best.
Yeah. Before, they never stayed anywhere for too long. Only long enough to stir up trouble, feed off the negative energy from their victims, and then move on to the next town or city. For a long time, it had worked out for them, but now they no longer had the means to do so anymore. So wait a minute, if they moved from town to town, I thought it was established in both the comics and the start of Rainbow Rocks that they were dumped into that world by Star Swirl, and they didn't move at all.
They didn't move from Canterlot City or wherever?
Well, like they started out as... I'm just going off my knowledge of the IDW MLP comics. The Fiendship is Magic miniseries that had the Sirens basically detail how they got their start as... You know, how their whole build-up from Rainbow Rocks was first started and their feud with Star Swirl the Bearded. Oh. Yeah. Again, I'm just acting off my knowledge of those comics, so...
He probably never saw them, so he's going off of what he's thinking about them.
Yeah. Alright, so... The Dazzlings had never had to worry about finding a place to stay. They would just sing a song, and just like that, they would get a room in any hotel or inn for free, or get some poor sap to pay for them. But now that they had lost their magic to control others, the three of them now had to find jobs just to be able to afford the small apartment that they were currently living in. So once again, it's established they have a home. Not as luxurious as the one Justice ridden them in, but oh well, it's something.
Yeah, it's better off.
Still in her pajamas, Adagio walked out of her room with a towel in her hand and was making her way to the bathroom for a quick shower. But when she got there, she found out that it was already occupied. "Hey! Hurry up in there!" she shouted as she knocked on the door. "Hold your horses, I'll be done in a minute!" Arya shouted back. Adagio could hear the shower running from behind the door. "Dang it, Arya! You better not use up the hot water again! You're not the only one living here, you know!" "Yeah, whatever, I said I'll be done in a minute!" First world problems, and having to worry about whether or not the hot water runs out.
Better than living in a hotel room, says Card. Not the hotel room we were at.
Like at BronyCon, you mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I'm not sure if it happened before you left or after you left, but the toilet clogged.
Oh. I think it might have been after you left. After I left, so.
Yeah.
And just for the record, speaking of conventions, I may as well just briefly mention that I'm going to be at next year's PonyCon NYC as part of a 3D Ponies panel with a couple of other animators.
Some people are thinking I should go to a furry convention, but I'm not so sure. Maybe next year, instead of starting a donation drive for a trip, I might just start a donation drive for a new computer.
Well, what, you're not thinking of going to BronyCon this next year?
Some people are saying, my experience based on last year's and the years before that, it was fun at the start, but all of a sudden started to become more of an obligation than fun. Well, I'm not sure how to word it exactly. Let's just say it stopped being fun.
Well, stuff happens.
Especially when it's especially when it was out of my control, and it was kind of harrowing.
Well, it's not your fault that stuff happens, you know?
Yeah.
They shouldn't let that deteriorate from your experience.
I don't know, it kind of did. I was hoping to have fun, but it didn't.
Yeah, shame. I was thinking of going to BronyCon again next year, but I guess we'll have to see what happens.
You should stick to PonyCon NYC. It's closest for you anyway.
Maybe. And Final Prank, I don't know. I mean, the only instance of that happening was when somebody made fucking Fluttershy plushie the year, what was it, 2014 that we went?
Yeah, the one. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Anyways, we were getting way off track. So once again, I'll be at PonyCon NYC. Let's get back to the story at hand. Adagio had no choice but to wait. And knowing Aria, there was no way she was going to finish in a minute. So she waited, and as the minutes went by, she started to wonder yet again why she even put up with her. Just as she was about to bang on the door again, it suddenly opened, and from the steam, Aria emerged with her hair loose and wearing only a bathrobe. "Oh wow! Has it only been a minute already? I hardly noticed," Adagio said sarcastically. "Whatever, enjoy your shower." "Excuse me," Aria replied as she walked past Adagio. She finally entered the bathroom, and as Aria walked towards her room, she heard Adagio scream from the shock of a cold shower, leaving her with a grin on her face.
Damn it, Aria.
Isn't she just a troll? Or a Grinch
bitch.
in this case, I don't know.
Maybe just a bitch.
Meanwhile, the kitchen was a mess as several bowls, utensils, spilled flour, and other ingredients filled the sink, table, and counter. I think we know where this is going.
Oh god. With only
Sonata.
one... Oh, fuck.
Sonata had been up before sunrise baking, and with a frosting bag in hand, she was finally making the finishing touches when Aria, now dressed for work, walked in. You're still at it," Aria said with arms crossed. With excitement in her face, Sonata grabbed the tray and presented her creations to Aria. "Look what I made!" Sonata cheered. On the tray was a pile of gingerbread men cookies, but unlike regular gingerbread men, they were shaped differently. The head on one pile was huge and misshapen with orange frosting drawn to look like curls, and the lower body had purple frosting. The second had extra gingerbread made to look like pigtails and was decorated with purple and teal frosting. And the last pile had only one piece sticking out of its head and had blue and maroon frosting. As sloppy as they were, it was clear that Sonata had made gingerbread replicas of the three of them.
Nice.
That's thoughtful.
Certainly beats tacos.
"It's us! What do you think? Awesome, right?" Sonata asked, holding up one of the cookie versions of herself right at Aria's face. Sorry, bad grammar getting in the way again.
I know.
Aria then snatched the cookie out of Sonata's hand, and after a moment of examining the Sonata cookie, she bit off its head. Again. Why do I even bother questioning it? What is this mess? Both Aria and Sonata turned to find Adagio entering the kitchen. She had finished her shower and was already dressed for work. She also had the look of both anger and confusion at the complete mess in front of her. "Please tell me you weren't trying to make cookies again, Sonata," Adagio said with a facepalm. "At least you didn't burn them this time," Aria said, "although it is still morning." "Hey! Why aren't you dressed for work?" Adagio asked Sonata. "I got today off. It's Christmas Eve, remember?" "She's probably going to spend the whole day watching cartoons like she usually does," Aria said. "Can you at least clean some of this up so we can have breakfast?" "Oh, right, breakfast!" Sonata shouted. She ran towards the counter to open the egg carton, only to find it empty. She then rushed towards the refrigerator and found that there was very little milk left. Oh, that's probably my midlife crisis, having no sign of milk anywhere.
Oh, Lord, that's me frequently. At least twice a month.
Girls?" Sonata said nervously. Adagio smacked her forehead with the palm of her hand and shook her head as Aria rolled her eyes. Pardon me. let me guess. You used it all to make the cookies, didn't you? Adagio asked. We got plenty of gingerbread cookies, though.
Fuck it.
Fine! Adagio answered. With little options left, Adagio and Aria had to settle for the sugary snack, and after eating a few gingerbread cookies, Adagio and Aria put on their winter coats and left for work, leaving Sonata alone in the apartment. Now that she was alone, Sonata quickly got dressed, and as soon as she was ready for the cold weather, she headed out the door. Fortunately, the mall was only a few blocks away from the apartment, and after several minutes of walking, she finally made it. She had one simple goal in mind, and it was finding the perfect gifts for her fellow Sirens. Normally, the three of them didn't care much for Christmas, most of all Adagio and Aria. But even so, Sonata did somewhat enjoy the cheerful atmosphere that the holiday brought out at people, and the holiday specials that aired every year were always a guilty pleasure for her. But this year, however, was different. Ever since they lost their magic, life for them had become more difficult. Even she was having a hard time trying to keep a positive spirit, and despite the tough or indifferent attitudes that her roommates were giving off, Sonata knew for a fact how low they had been feeling lately. That's why Sonata really wanted to do something to help cheer them up, and what better way than a gift for Christmas? Once she was inside, she saw how packed the mall was with all the people doing their holiday shopping. Sonata walked from store to store, looking for anything that could make a great gift. After a couple of hours searching from clothing to even game stores, she had not been able to find anything that would be a good gift for her friends. She had forgotten how expensive everything was, and most of her money had already gone into paying her share of the rent. Feeling discouraged, Sonata found herself at the food court, where she sat alone on one of the benches as she watched everyone around her carrying bags and boxes without a care. Oh man. I know the feel of having not enough money to get what you really want. It's bullshit.
And the stuff that you really need.
This sucks. Sonata sulked. No magic, I still can't sing, and I can't even afford a gift for for Adagio and Aria. I almost said Ario.
Ario Speedwagon!
Woohoo! Anyways, oh boy. Why so sad on Christmas Eve? Said a voice right next to her. Huh? What? Sonata replied as she turned her head. Sitting on the same bench next to her was an elderly man with a thick white bearded mustache. He was wearing a brown coat and hat, and in his hands was a cane with what looked like a tiny snow globe at the end. What was strange was that she could have sworn that the whole bench was empty when she sat there. Sonata then realized that perhaps she was just so lost in her own self-pity to notice someone sitting next to her. I got nothing.
I got ideas, but let's see where this goes first.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry, said the old man. I was just wondering, what's a young girl like you doing looking so sad on Christmas Eve? Oh, that's because I'm a terrible friend, Sonata replied with the tears in her eyes. Now, why would you say that? He asked with concern. Because I don't have anything to give my roommates for Christmas, Sonata said as she wiped her eyes. Did they ask you for anything in particular? No, they're not really into the holidays, but lately we've been having a really tough time, and I thought that maybe if I got them something cool for Christmas, maybe they'll lighten up some, Sonata explained. That's very nice of you, the old man said, but you know, you don't need to get expensive gifts to show that you care, right? Really? Sonata asked. Of course. Giving gifts is a nice way to show others that we care, but what I find what matters most is the people around us just being happy together. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I think I do, Sonata answered. Just then, Sonata saw something from the corner of her eye land beside her foot. When she picked it up, she found that it was a flyer, and after reading it, she suddenly got an idea. That's it! Sonata said as she jumped to her feet. I know what I can do! Thanks for the advice, mister! You're welcome, miss. It's what I do. Interesting.
I'll reserve my judgment about this little scene.
Let's continue on and see what happens. Sonata made just one more stop before finally arriving home. As soon as she entered through the door, she grabbed a roll of wrapping paper that she had just bought. She struggled for a bit, and although it was sloppily done, she was able to wrap up the 2 gifts she had purchased. So she did find something.
I wonder what it is.
Oh, let's keep reading. Now with the gifts ready, she grabbed another plate of gingerbread cookies and waited for Aria and Adagio to come home. Normally they were home by now, but after looking at the clock, she saw they were late. I'm actually left to wonder exactly what kind of jobs they have in this story.
Probably entry-level fast food positions, because that's the only thing that are available.
I can only imagine their displeasure in being in that position.
Especially with how things are in the fast food industry. Maybe retail too, as Digital Railroader said.
Yes, anyways, sitting on the couch with the TV on, she started to notice that the sun was already down. Then, as the next hour passed, Sonata was starting to wonder what was taking them so long. With the flyer still in her hand, she continued to wait until finally she fell asleep on the couch with the TV still on. When Sonata finally awoke, she found that she had a blanket over her. It was then she realized that she had fallen asleep in the living room. I have that way too many goddamn times in my life. I don't know what it is. I just lie down and I try to stay awake, but sleep just takes over.
I have a bed, but I'm sadly favoring my couch now.
Well, look who finally woke up, said a familiar voice. Sonata turned around to find that it was Aria who just spoke. She was leaning against the kitchen counter, eating one of the gingerbread cookies. Finally, Adagio said as she walked out of the kitchen. I thought you'd never get up. As the 2 other sirens took their seats at the table, Sonata quickly grabbed the 2 presents she had wrapped and rushed over to the table to join them. Merry Christmas, girls! Sonata cheered as she presented them with the 2 gifts. Adagio and Aria were surprised at Sonata's actions, and after a few seconds to process it, they accepted the 2 small boxes. Looks like you had the same idea, Adagio said, as she pulled out 2 brightly colored bags from under the table. The room was silent at the fact that Adagio had actually gotten them gifts. And I think I'm just shocked.
Huh. Well, that's strange.
It's really a shock to see the queen bitch of all people getting them gifts. Yes, I'm so totally on to that.
I know.
Well, if you 2 are doing it, then I may as well join in.
Aria too?
Yes, Aria brought out a couple of envelopes. Oh, holy crap.
Well, something must be going on. Huh. I wonder.
The 3 of them just sat there for a moment before they finally exchanged gifts with one another. Adagio had apparently gotten both Aria and Sonata a new blouse from the retail store where she works. So it's retail that Adagio works at. As for Aria, she got them both gift cards. Sonata's in particular was for the nearby taco place known as King Sombrero's Taco Empire. Of course we give Sonata tacos.
God damn it! I thought we have a fanfic where Sonata wouldn't be eating so much tacos.
Sonata discovers Taco Town again.
Oh fuck! Don't remind me of that.
Now it was Adagio and Aria's turn to open Sonata's gifts, and when they did, they were surprised at what they had unwrapped. In their hands were pendants, identical in color and shape to the ones that once gave them their powers. Whoa. They're fakes from the convenience store, Sonata said. I thought they would look good on us. They even look like our old ones. See? I even got one for me, too. She then pulled out the same pendant necklace from underneath her shirt to show them. Adagio and Aria didn't say a word, causing Sonata to get nervous. But suddenly, she saw the 2 put on the pendants she got them. I know I don't normally say this, but thanks, girls, Adagio said, now looking at Aria. Thanks, I guess, Aria said. And thank you both! But we're not done yet, Sonata said. Huh? The 2 of the sirens said in unison. Trust me, get dressed, Sonata said with a grin on her face. Oh boy. I actually have a somewhat bad feeling about this. After a few minutes, the Dazzlings were dressed out and out the door. Sonata was ahead, holding both Aria and Adagio by the arms, leading them around. Then, after several minutes, the three of them were finally at their destination. "What's so important about this place?" Aria asked. "It's a restaurant," Sonata answered. "And it's open even though it's Christmas Day, see?" Sonata handed them the flyer she found while she was out yesterday. "So?" Aria deadpanned. Sonata said, "It's not just any restaurant, it also has karaoke!"
That's kind of a bad idea.
Adagio can verify. "What's the point, Sonata? No one is going to want to hear us. We'll sound horrible." "Yeah, but that's not the point," Sonata replied. "Karaoke is not about sounding good, it's about having fun." Adagio and Aria were hesitant at first, which was until Sonata gave him those puppy dog eyes. She really has been learning from Pinky, hasn't she? "Fine," Adagio relented. The three of them entered the restaurant, where they had a nice meal as it waited for them to turn on the mic. Although they still sounded bad, nonetheless, they still had a good time. Merry Christmas, everyone. The end.
I have a suspicion about the guy at the mall.
You don't think he could possibly be who we think he could have been, do you?
I think he might be.
Oh, yes. It could have been.
But maybe we should just leave it as a mystery for these people. Oh,
Yes.
fuck. Ink's already got it. Jesus.
Oh, damn it. You
Ink.
Ha!
Ink. You goddamn.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
For shame, Ink.
Yeah, but that was actually shorter than I was expecting.
And it was. I did scan through it. It did seem short.
True that.
Oh, or the human version of Star Swirl the Bearded, not Santa Claus.
I actually kind of like that idea a little better, surprisingly enough. So, do we want to cut it here, or do you think we can squeeze in one more?
How about we cut it here for now? Let's keep it nice and short.
Yeah, why not? It's Christmas Eve tomorrow anyway, so I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
So if I don't see you all again after Christmas or wherever, I want to wish you all once again a Merry Christmas, because frankly, you all fucking deserve it. So, as it goes, Merry fucking Christmas.
And see you later.
See you around, my lovelies.